Hello everyone! I'm Myungju from Korean Poet Society. I'm also with my whiteboard behind me today, so I hope this would help you to understand better because there is the topic that I am talking about on the whiteboard. And today, the poem that I'm going to introduce you guys is Flower, which is also over there, written by poet Kim Chun-soo. This poem is so famous among Koreans and so much loved by Koreans too. And also this poem is chosen as the most favorite poems ever by Koreans. So now I'm going to introduce this wonderful poem. And let's go! Same as before, now I'm going to read you two versions of this poem. First is Korean version and next is English version. First, Korean version. 꽃, 김춘수. 내가 그의 이름을 불러주기 전에는 그는 다만 하나의 몸짓에 지나지 않았다. 내가 그의 이름을 불러주었을 때 그는 나에게로 와서 꽃이 되었다. 내가 그의 이름을 불러준 것처럼 나의 이 빛깔과 향기에 알맞은 누가 나의 이름을 불러다오. 그에게로 가서 나도 그의 꽃이 되고 싶다. 우리들은 모두 무엇이 되고 싶다. 너는 나에게, 나는 너에게. 잊혀지지 않는 하나의 눈짓이 되고 싶다. And next is English version. Before I called her name, she was nothing more than a gesture. When I called her name, she came to me and became a flower. Like I called her name, someone please call my name that suits my color and fragrance. I, too, long to come to her and become her flower. We all long to be something, you to me and I to you. Long to become a gaze that won't be forgotten. How was it? Did you like the poem? And can you think of the reason why so many Koreans, like this poem? In my opinion, I think the reason why they love this poem so much is because they can empathize the feeling of the poetic narrator, who is I. We all want to be something to other people who we love so much. So I think that is why Koreans like this poem so much. Anyway, same as before, now I'm going to tell you who is poet Kim Chun-soo. Now I'm going to tell you who the poet Kim Chun-soo is. He was born in 1922 and he was died in 2004. And he wrote more than 15 anthologies. Wow, isn't it surprising? And when I heard the number, and I was so surprised. Anyway, and at the beginning of his career as a poet, he wrote poems mostly about the meaning of the existence. However, since 1970s, he brought nonsense poetic, which was innovative and the notion that no one could have thought of it. It seems very contradictory, but what he meant is that he just want to look at the object itself and distort all the relationship between the symbol of the object and the object itself. And then he gave his own personal meaning to the object. This concept is what he pursued until he died. This is all for poet Kim Chun-soo. And next, I'm going to tell you the meaning of the poem Flower. Now I'm going to explain the poem Flower. But before analyzing, I'm going to introduce the origin of the poem Flower. When the poet was a teacher, he was alone in the classroom one night, and he saw the flower in the water like this, and he wrote a poem related to this, and the length of this poem was almost 1 page. So he get rid of some parts, and then the poem was made. And next, now I'm going to analyze the poem with beautiful flowers. You'll see what I mean, like these flowers. Anyway, the first part is before recognizing. We can know this through these highlighted parts before I called her name. Then she was nothing when she was not recognized. Nothing means meaningless. The next part is after recognizing, and we can know this through this part. When I called her name, it means after calling her name. And she became a flower, which means a meaningful object. Next part is hoping to be a meaningful being. And we can find this by this part, someone please call my name. And this means the poetic narrator, I want to become a meaningful object. And also this part, I too long to come to her and become her flower. Like what I said before, flower is a meaningful object, and this shows that I, the poetic narrator, also wants to be a meaningful object to her. And the last part is hoping to be a meaningful being interactively. We can see this part by you to me and I to you, which means relationships between me and you, and become a meaningful relationship mutually. So, to sum up, when we perceive the meaning of the existence and call her name, the poetic narrator I could have a meaningful relationship with her. And the author is suggesting that mutual relationship gives you the essence of the meaning. This is all about the poem, but it's kind of confusing. So now I'm going to tell you some examples. So now I'm going to explain more about poem flower with an example. For example, I have this doll. And before I name this doll, this is nothing and just a meaningless object. But when I name this doll, well, I don't know the name of this character, so just silver candy. Yeah. Then this became a meaningful object to me, and I make a meaningful relationship with this silver candy. So the flower in the poem means that having a meaningful relationship with the object and the moment that I name the object, like what I named this doll silver candy. And this is a real end of the poem. And next, since the poem is so famous, so there are some parodies of the poem. Now I'm going to tell you the parodies of this poem. Lastly, now I'm going to introduce the parodies of poem Flower. But before I start, please understand that there will be some mistakes because I translated those parodies by myself since I can't find the English versions of the poems. So please consider this point when you listen to me. Then let's start. And the first example of the parodies is if I could turn on and off the love like radio. I'll just read the English version. Before I pressed the button, she was nothing more than a radio. When I pressed the button, she came to me and became a radioactive. Like I pressed the button, someone please press my solid streams of blood and desolate button in my heart. I too long to come to her and become her radioactive. We all long to be loved, long to become a radio that can be turned on whenever I want. The poet of this poem is criticizing instant love and questioning that serious and intimate relationship is also possible in nowadays. And the second poem is the parody of flower. I'll read the English version only. Before I called her name, she was nothing more than a weight waiting for distortion. When I called her name, she soon came to me and changed like what I said. When I called her name, she soon came to me and made a meaning form that is not a grass, flower, cement, road, cigarette butt, aspirin, and adaline, but not common noun or numerals such as marigold, peony, poinsettia, dogwind, honeysuckle, yellow, cementhium, and extra. We all want a name, you to me and I to you. And when the meaning of the form is completed, as it is, she became a weight. The poet of this poem is criticizing the topic of the poem flower. He is suggesting that naming is distorting the essence of the object. This is real end of my video and thank you for watching and following me. Bye!